Hello and welcome to Digital Farm TV Rural News. I'm Andy Walker. The National Farmers Federation has welcomed the Reserve Bank's decision to cut interest rates by 0.25%, bringing them to an historic low of 2.5%. The RBA cut takes rates down to the lowest they have been in 53 years. Great news for farmers, agri-businesses and indeed all borrowers, NFF President Duncan Fraser said. He urged all banks to pass on the rate cut in full. The NFF has also released its July Agribusiness Loan Monitor, the last for the financial year. This showed that of the 0.75% interest rate cuts during the year, the banks had passed on between 0.4 and 0.65%. New Zealand Prime Minister John Key has reportedly accused dairy giant Fonterra of delaying sounding the alarm over Kerrycare brand infant formula, tainted with a potentially fatal botulism bug. Fonterra revealed on Friday that whey used in the formula had been contaminated with bacteria that could cause botulism. There have been no associated illnesses reported. An Australian food safety expert told the Digital Farm that while the risk of botulism infection was minimal, it was extraordinary that Fonterra had waited from mid-March until Friday last week to alert authorities and customers. The National Farmers Federation is to set up a scoreboard to rate the policies of contenders for government in the forthcoming federal election. With the poll date confirmed for September 7, the NFF this week called on the government and opposition to clarify policies and commit to firm action for the farm sector. NFF President Duncan Fraser said farmers and the broader rural sector needed the detail behind political rhetoric so the voters could make up their minds about what the major parties and independents had to offer for the next 3 years. The Cattle Council of Australia has questioned a federal government decision to appoint a Director General of Animal Welfare and Live Exports. The Federal Agriculture Minister Joel Fitzgibbon last week announced the role in his opening speech at an Australian Animal Welfare Strategy National Workshop. Cattle Council President Andrew Ogilvie said producers were unsure about the necessity of the position, given there were numerous proven welfare safeguards in place. Abandoning livestock exports makes little economic or animal welfare sense, according to the Australian Farm Institute this week. There was clear evidence that abandoning live exports would have a negative financial impact on a majority of farm businesses in Australia. This would lead to increased sourcing of livestock from other nations, all of which had lower livestock management and animal welfare standards than Australia. Western Australian livestock producers have an opportunity to take part in a free State Department of Agriculture nutrient mapping program from November. Senior Research Officer David Weaver said the aim of the state-funded program was to take the guesswork out of farm nutrient needs using regular soil testing. During the next 2 years, 200 farmers in 600 mil plus rainfall zones would be provided with free professional soil sampling, analysis and nutrient mapping. Western Australian canola growers are being warned to be on the lookout for diamondback moth larvae that are beginning to appear in crops around the Esperance area. As the weather warms, these pests can swarm and pose a serious challenge to canola crops. The Grains Research and Development Corporation has issued a new diamondback moth fact sheet outlining strategies to identify and control outbreaks. Finally, the news platform Business World Online has ranked Vietnam as a star player in poverty reduction since the end of the 20-year war in 1975. Vietnam had 5 product groups earning more than $1 billion a year in exports: rice, natural rubber, cashews, shrimps and catfish. Vietnam's poverty rate fell from 90% of the population in 1981 to about 17% in 2009. Well, that's it for Digital Farm Rural News. I'm Andy Walker and look forward to your company again next week. Bye.